people on Facebook are in a little bit of a tizzy. And I am inspired to make a video despite my horrible, raging head cold. Can you hear it? Can you hear how nasally I sound? I sound like a duck. And this is actually good. You should have heard me a couple days ago. And I will break into violent hacking, coughing, choking, gagging fits in the middle of conversations. So I can't guarantee that this video is going to be one section. There might be many sections. There might be strange breakups or whatever, things, interruptions at weird times. Just FYI. No, there's this thing on Facebook, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it now. Shoot. Okay, well, there's this thing. Gospel of Jesus' Wife. Papyrus. I have no idea how to say it. What they used to call, what used to be paper. What the early form of paper. Okay. Papyrus is ancient, not fake, experts say. This and other, there's been 2 or 3 different posts under Huffy. This is me being sick. You have to pardon, even more so than normal, my brain is just, wow. Anyway, HuffPost Religion keeps posting stuff on Facebook like, woohoo! Look at this, got this little piece of parchment the size of a business card with scribbles on it. And the experts are saying, that it's real. It's real, it's old, it's real, it's not fake. And all the Christians are like, oh no, I have to rethink everything. Oh no, Jesus might have had a wife. Oh no, what am I going to do with my belief system? It's all chaos. No. Okay. I have read different things, and I don't know which one to believe. But I have read that when the church hired a bunch of people to write the Gospels, there were a lot of respondees. There were a lot of submissions to this little gospel writing contest that the church put on, okay? I think the most I read was 30. There were like 30 of them. I'm sure that the numbers vary from whatever, source you look at. I wasn't like on a mission to find out exactly what the number was, but apparently there were quite a few gospels that were submitted for consideration to the publishers at the time. And from what I've read, it sounds like these writers were given a basic blueprint. Okay, we need to come up with stuff to make this guy seem like a real character, not just an imaginary one. So you all have to be consistent, on these particular points. But other than that, add to it, flesh out the story, make this guy seem real, because that's the idea. We're making a character that was, for a while, just a spirit, a being that existed on a spiritual realm. We're trying to make him historical. So he's he stands out as more important than all the other guys that came before him that were just the same. Okay, we're going to make him historical. So we want you guys to take this little outline of what we want your gospel to have in it, take it home and work on it, create places, create people, make up names, just keep these things in common, okay? Well, I have read that some of these other gospels were pretty far out there, pretty darn far, even back then you had your high fantasy writers, you had your science fiction writers, you had people that had really good imaginations out there. And some of these gospels, well, they were rejected by the church because they were just too far out there, So you have little bits and pieces of these other gospels that were rejected by Joe Schmo down the street who wrote this thing, and no, we're not going to have Jesus riding a dinosaur in our gospel. That's a little too far out. But thanks for submitting, do send us another one some other time. Yes. Anyway, so they found a snippet of parchment with a fact on it that the church didn't want in the beginning, because I'm sure at one point this little thing belonged to a gospel that somebody submitted for consideration to the church, and the church said, no, we can't have Jesus be married. That's just too far out there. You better trundle on off. We're not going to accept your... But don't forget to try again next time we have a little writers contest. Try to submit something. Maybe we'll accept to that. You know, so it's like, okay, now we're all supposed to go, ooh, Jesus was married because this little piece of paper says so. What other little pieces of paper are floating around there saying really far out things? Because, you know, they were written down, these other gospels that the church rejected, they were written down too. You know, how do we know that bits and pieces from these other rejected gospels aren't floating around there, and that these little bits and pieces will be discovered? And what will they say on them? Jesus goes to Australia on his time off to go scuba diving the coral reefs. Yeah, Jesus has a dragon that he likes to go flying in the summertime when he's not fishing. You know, who knows what the hell. I know that one of the accepted gospels, one that the church actually did accept, and this is hearsay because I think it was, I'm trying to remember who, I listened to a lecture and I'm trying to remember who it was. One of the big guys, one of the guys that I really admire said this in his speech, and I don't remember which one. Sam, what's his last name? I'm sorry, I'm sick and my brain is just not working. Anyway, said the Gospel of Peter was originally in the Bible. It was actually a very popular gospel, but they took it out because it was just a little too far out there. I guess when Jesus emerges from the tomb in the Gospel of Peter, the cross is hopping along behind him. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what the book says, but that was... Ugh, now I'm stuck on the guy's name. Now I can't think of his name now. Anyway, that's what he said. That's how he put it. And they decided it was too far out there, that Jesus, the cross, accompanied Jesus when he appeared from the tomb. Okay. You know, and the name that I'm trying to think of, it's going to bother me. It's really going to bother me. Anyway. I'll try to look like it doesn't bother me for the rest of the video, okay? Yeah, okay. Anyway, the point is there's a lot of stupid shit out there that have been made up. And who knows what stupid shit was written that the church rejected because it was too stupid. And now we're like, ow! You know, just falling all over ourselves, you know, for every little piece of whatever that's picked up. Oh, Jesus had a wife. Oh, Jesus rode a purple dragon in the summertime. Oh, Jesus went scuba diving because this little piece of paper says so. I think this is hysterical. It's like these Christians are slaves to anything that's ancient that has Jesus' name on it. First of all, Jesus is not writing on this piece of paper. He's not writing on here, on this piece of paper that they found. It's not Jesus writing, and my wife said, da 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 da. He's not writing this. This is some guy writing about Jesus talking, and Jesus referring to his wife and what he's talking about. You know? Yeah. That's just like me writing about the purple dragon with the wings. You know? Make up whatever to make it sound like a real person. And we're going to accept the best ones. They accepted 4 of all the submissions they went through. Actually, apparently they accepted more than 4 because there was at one point a Gospel of Peter in there. And apparently a very popular gospel, you know. It's not in there anymore. Gee, I think we just better take that hopping cross out because people are getting just a little too educated. They might figure out there's something wrong with this story, you know, if it just make it too stupid. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all. I just want to make a comment. I think it's hysterical how all these Christians are, oh, in a fuss about this little piece of paper. It's like, do you know that there was a lot of shit that was rejected by the church? You know, there's probably other little pieces of paper, and who knows what they say. I almost want them to be found, because it'd be so funny to see the church trying to do backflips, or Christians trying to do mental backflips to try to incorporate the new information into their precious belief system, you know. Oh, Jesus. Whoa, this would really be great if they found a piece of parchment in the Middle East that said Jesus visited another country after he died and presented his special message to somebody on golden plates. The Mormons would love it, but can you imagine the Christians? Oh my gosh, you know. Anyway, so this is just my short little video about how I think it's so stupid that these people are so incredibly enslaved by this. Oh, this is wait. It's like this one little piece of paper, and they're all up in arms about it. There's like HuffPost articles everywhere on Facebook about it. I'm just curious to read some of these comments. Okay, and that's the other thing. The comments under these are so funny. It's like they're talking about this guy like he actually lived and he actually existed. It's like, it's a given. He really existed, and the proof that we have, we have a book that says so. Okay, so here's stuff that I'm just going to read randomly. I'll try to avoid. Just because the Gospels don't mention Jesus being married doesn't mean it couldn't be true. Also, it would be very out of the ordinary for a 33-year-old Jewish man during that time to not be married. I would think if he was single, that would have been more scandalous. That's by John Clonch on Facebook. You know, it's like, we've just skipped right over the whole did he exist at all step. I don't even think about that. He just existed because the book says so. Yeah. Oh, here's some. Oh, wait a minute. This is Becky Scotton Finn, F-I-N-N. The Bible as we know it is made up of books with information that the church decided we should have available. This is true. Doesn't that bother people, you know, that the church decided that this is all the Word of God, all of it, supposedly. It's 100% inspired by God, and the church is going, well, you know, maybe we won't have that in it, you know, because it doesn't further our agenda so much, you know. There are so many other wonderful Gospels out there. Yeah, there are. That are deep and meaningful on many levels. Thomas, Mary Magdalene, Esther, Philip, Peter. Don't forget Peter with the hopping cross. Whether or not Jesus had a wife, the words have significance to many. Why should folks be upset over the possibility of a non-celibate Messiah? Because he's supposed to be pure. He's supposed to be sinless, and you know sex is so dirty. Ew, we can't have our beloved Lord, soiling himself by putting his, inside. No, it's just so, ew. Seriously. You know, the original, notice how funny my voice sounds. This is me with a really bad, I have a bad sore throat and my voice is really weird. Anyway, the original, Christians did not believe in a physical, historical Jesus. They believed in a guy in the spiritual realm only. And when they started wanting to historicize Jesus, people had a problem with the idea that their Lord would... You're trying to say that Jesus came from the loins of a woman? You know, dirty, icky, nasty, evil women? No, they didn't like it. There was a rift between... From what I've read, you know, I'm not like an expert, but there was like this rift that went on because there were these Christians that wanted to keep Jesus the way he was, which was a spiritual being only, and then the church working really freaking hard to make him historical by, you know, doing things like, the wrong word, forging, making a forgery out of historian stuff like Josephus. Anyway, somebody wrote, It's got to be true. I read OT on the internet. I don't know what the hell she's saying with the Old Testament on the internet. It's got to be true. She read the OT on the internet. It's more than likely that Jesus was married since he was a rabbi. Notice he says since he was a rabbi. We don't know. We don't know he existed at all. Why don't people tackle the first tough question? Did he exist at all? There's absolutely no evidence that says he did. And the original Christians, the earliest Christians, did not think he lived as a person. He was a spiritual being up in the sky. That's how Paul, that's the Jesus Paul believed in, was the spiritual Jesus. It wasn't until like 60 some years later that they started trying to make him into a real person. Anyway, it just cracks me up. These people write like, so what if he was married? So was everyone else. Besides, he was a human. And we don't know what he was doing for 30 years between his birth and the last few years before he was crucified. He was having wild, passionate sex orgies with multiple companions, men and women both, and bears, all in the same room, and they were all naked, and the bears had dresses on. Sorry, this is you know, I'm weird anyway, but this is me. It's like me on steroids when I'm sick. You know, you can make up whatever shit you want. Jesus had no wife. He was a man for the sake of teaching and healing in a form we could accept. He was never married. His wife could mean he married to his faith as priests and nuns were married to their religion. I love how I talk. I have a really fun... I cannot make this voice when I don't have a cold. Read the history of religion, then the Bible. One cannot understand the Bible unless they understand the history of religion. To do so otherwise is foolish and naive. Actually, read the history of how the Bible came to be and how the religion came to be. Then read the Bible and you will see it's all a huge crock of shit. As a liberal, progressive Christian, I have absolutely no problem with this whatsoever. I never have understood why the idea of Jesus being married bothers so many people. It's the dirty thing, the penis and the thing, you know, and the ew thing. That's what it is. Jesus was pure. He was like a lamb with no blemishes at all. We can't have him messing around. Wouldn't shake my faith one way or the other, but the concept of descendants and interpreting it as the continuation of David's lineage in the Bible is fascinating. It is a fact Mary had other children. What? It's a fact? We don't even fucking know she existed at all. Hello? We don't even know this Ugh! We have no evidence to show Mary existed either. Christ's brothers and sisters, perhaps we are related? Maybe it's no big deal since we are all related to Adam and Eve. I'm going to write to this person. It's a fact? Capitalize? Huh? Since when is the existence, parentheses, for real, of any of the gospel characters a fact? Evidence, please. Evidence, please. Where do you get this information? I know that's not a very witty comeback, but I'm sick. Jeez. Jesus' bride is the church. When he returns, I think he means when he returns, it will be a big celebration, and all the people that blaspheme against him will have to give an account. Ooh, be scared. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Blessings. They really seriously said blessings after that. Wahaha. I have to write that. I have to write back. I'm going to write Wahaha. I'm so afraid. Oh, yeah. I like this. Here's a good person. A good person. Somebody has a clue. It is very interesting that you talk about this like there is any scientific evidence Jesus ever existed, let alone had a wife. People can write down whatever they want to on paper. These could be the ramblings of a lunatic for all we know, or a person hired by the church to write a gospel. That's basically what I'm sure this is. I'm pretty sure it's just, like I said, there was a lot of stuff written by him, requested by the church to be written, that wasn't accepted into the final draft. Anyway, so this is getting long. I just feel like making a video. It's been like 3 days and I'm like, you know, oh my God, 3 days without a video. What am I gonna do? Is that? So I'm doing this one and I am amazed. I have not had a single coughing fit. This is really good. I just spent 8 hours at work just barely getting through phone calls because of the cough. And I just got through this video without a coughing fit. What the fuck? Why couldn't this have happened when I was at work? Anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.